Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
JDF deployed to a compound to repair hurricane damage. Health Minister urges calm, says visitors safe amid leptospirosis outbreak. And later in sports, Windies get set up first test of the series versus New Zealand.
Now the details. The Jamaica Defense Force, JDF, will be sent to Accompong Town in the Cockpit Country to repair buildings damaged by Hurricane Melissa. The deployment comes just in time for the town's annual celebrations. Details in this report.
Of Accompong Town's 260 homes, about 80% were severely affected by Hurricane Melissa more than a month ago. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness visited the community over the weekend and promised that engineers from the JDF will be deployed to assist with repairs in the area. He also noted that support for the rebuilding will come from other countries, including several in Africa.
I will be assigning the JDF with some of its engineering corps to assist in the restoration of roofs that can be restored, to immediately start your recovery so that you can get ready for January 6th. There are several other engineering corps that are coming in. We have offers from Ethiopia, from Ghana, from Rwanda, and several other countries have said that they would be willing to come. And as soon as those are confirmed, in terms of the date that they will come, then I will direct some of them here and to other of the districts surrounding a compound.
Dr. Holness said his visit shows that the government remains committed to supporting the area. This is despite the community's local governance structure.
There is no community for which the government of Jamaica is not responsible. There is no community in which the government of Jamaica must not be present. And there is no community that is neglected or taken for granted. The government of Jamaica, which I represent, is responsible. The government of Jamaica respects the local efforts, the local government, and the local organizations of community. There is oftentimes a view that somehow when you do things at the local level, it shows up the absence of the government. Let me be clear. The government is responsible for everything.
Dr. Holness said critics are trying to create a division between the government and the people, but that will not succeed.
The people and the government must be one, especially in times of disaster. Now, I will be the first to say, having visited here many times and participated in the celebrations here many times, the Maroon communities are an important part of the cultural heritage of Jamaica.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
Economist Joseph Scott says the economic impact of Hurricane Melissa will likely surpass the government's projection. Mr. Cox made the comments on RGR's That's a Wrap program on Sunday.
Economist Joseph Cox argues that the government's estimated US $10 billion in losses from Hurricane Melissa is too low. Mr. Cox believes further assessments will reveal higher national costs as the full extent of the damage becomes clearer.
Why? Let's look at it. Let's start with the customs, the most obvious one. Revenue foregone over the 2 months. Remember, customs collects a couple $100 million a day, basically. And just think about the revenue foregone. You're talking about opportunity costs. You're talking about supply chain disruptions. You're talking about business interruption, etc., etc. So 10 billion, honestly, in this thing, and I'm certainly not one of the negative types, but I suspect that even that is conservative. No. On the other side of it, some of that will be mitigated by things like insurance, because some companies do have business interruption insurance, etc., etc.
Mr. Cox says the speed at which electricity is restored will play a major role in determining the scale of the economic fallout. Businesses continue to face disruptions as power remains unstable in several areas and households are still struggling to return to normal routines. He warns that delays in restoring electricity could further deepen the financial losses.
As with all of activities of this nature, is that sometimes the oversight it gets a little blurred given the rapidity, given the seriousness of the issue involved. So that could be a potential challenge. But at the other side of the coin, you have to get the power restored, because without the power being restored, the economic activity will just basically stall. And that now will create a compounding effect, because if the economy stalls, then obviously unemployment goes up, and then there is a greater pressure on the system and the process.
The Economist also opposes any move for the government to take over the Jamaica Public Service.
I'm a purist when it comes to some things. Government has no business running things like that. Government, you create the environment, create the legislative backbone, as it were, create the governance mechanisms, and let the private sector run this thing. I do not believe in that the state should get into it, because if we go back to when the state actually did control JPS, that is not a pleasant memory, and I don't think we want to go back there at all.
Aliyah Bryant, TVJ News.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is appealing to Jamaicans not to panic. The call comes amid the outbreak of leptospirosis in Jamaica. Dr. Tufton said measures are in place to contain the situation and protect locals. The minister added he also does not see a big risk for people visiting the island.
In terms of the facilities that cater to tourists, whether it's the hotels, which themselves are doing some rehabilitation as we speak because of the impact of the hurricane, and we work closely with them, as well as the certified attractions that cater to tours and visitors. We work closely with those entities too, and there is a certification process that is required, and that is given in conjunction with health.
Dr. Tufton said the government will not stop people from traveling or issue any travel warning.
We are just placing all on alert and are particularly focused on the vulnerable communities. Those communities, of course, we have identified and where we are collaborating in terms of our operations, NSWMA and others, as part of the cleanup of solid waste and, of course, treating with water to avoid or minimize the risk of waterborne diseases, including leptospirosis. So I just want to make that clear, and we will continue to work with the relevant stakeholders, including the tourism interests, to ensure that visitors are safe.
The Ministry of Health says many Jamaicans living with AIDS have experienced setbacks, with some losing access to treatment, counseling and vital medications. The ministry says the disruptions have widened gaps in offering care. It also increased the risk for vulnerable groups, but the ministry says it is working closely with medical organizations to address the issues.
What about our HIV stats?
So that is something that, okay, so we still have about 25,000 persons, I believe it is.
25 is our total global...
No, for our number. Oh, you mean in the world or in Jamaica?
No, in JA.
In Jamaica, yes,
okay.
about 25,000.
Okay.
For people with, apart from the loss of their personal belongings, a lot of people have lost medication, lost the ability to access their health centers, and have just been displaced in general. But the Ministry of Health and Wellness has activated this 24-hour helpline. We have also been supporting clinics to ensure that patients stay in care. And we also have been reaching out to persons who have missed education. And the message here is simple, that it doesn't matter if our HIV or not HIV in general, treatment in general should not be paused just because of a hurricane. Help is available.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation has collaborated with 2 diaspora entities to provide hurricane relief, Karen Simpson reports.
As part of their effort across the island to assist parishes hardest hit by Hurricane Melissa, the team carried out work on the roof of the Safe Harbor, assisted by living facility in Lacovia, St. Elizabeth.
Apart from just the roof, we also did decluttering, we did a deep cleaning, we painted, and we gave out care packages. And it was just really a sense of civic duty for us. You know, children and the elderly, they are very vulnerable. And to be in a situation as devastating as this, I cannot imagine what they must have went through. So we're just here offering support in the best way that we can.
One of the other beneficiaries was the Clifton Boys Home in Manchester.
We wanted to be very intentional about what we do. So while the relief is great, we felt like adopting a facility would be more of helping one person or a group of persons getting back to normalcy. So it's not about feeding, because that is essential, but we wanted to make sure that if they were without shelter, then that's something that we could take on, so that, you know, at least we know this particular group of boys or personnel had a roof over their heads at night.
Mayor Andrew Swaby says the corporation also partnered with sports researchers from the University of the West Indies to find ways to lift the boys' spirits.
We had played some football with them. We had made sure that they have won their medals, and a little cash prize, a little token, and I think they really enjoyed it. Also, we have given them some packages, and we have given something for the home. We wanted to look at the roof here, but this is bigger than what the KSMAC can manage. Moreover, the chairman of the board here has been reaching out to other organizations to see if they can slab the roof. So what we're doing, we're working through with them, and whatever contribution we can make at a later date, we will make a contribution.
Ms. Bulger says the support overseas has been surprisingly great.
Jamaica has the respect of the world, and we wear our flag with pride. And I'm so happy that everybody came together to support us, and it just shows how strong we are. As small as the island is, we are so impactful. And so when we are hurt, it's good that everybody came to, you know, give us our support.
We intend to continue to do what we can for others going forward. So as time goes by, we'll identify a facility or maybe just an individual or a family and see how best we can help them with the relief effort.
Carrie Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang underwent an elective procedure over the weekend. The government says he's recuperating well. During the period of his recovery, the Ministry of National Security and Peace will be overseen by the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Iron Rock Insurance is reporting solid year-to-date growth, with premiums up 36%, led by its fire, liability, and engineering segments. Insurance revenue for the quarter rose 21% to just under $535 million. However, higher reinsurance costs and a 28% rise in motor claims reduced its insurance service result to $11.8 million, down from just over $20 million last year. Increased operating expenses also weighed on performance, resulting in a pre-tax loss of $10.1 million compared to a $7.8 million profit a year ago. Still, the company says it remains well capitalized with $1.74 billion in assets and $752.5 million in stakeholders' equity. Millions of SNAP food benefit recipients may soon have to meet new work results to keep their benefits. The Republican-backed Big Beautiful Bill now requires at least 80 hours of activity each month for a much wider group of people. A Congressional Budget Office report says that will mean 2.4 million fewer people getting benefits on average each month. As a result, some residents could lose food aid as soon as January. State officials warn the full impact will unfold as recipients hit their next recertification deadlines. For the Business Minute, I'm Prince Moore.
Now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, voters in St. Lucia are heading to the polls today with representatives of 3 political parties and 8 independents seeking support from more than 180,000 eligible voters. 44 candidates are vying for seats in the 17-member parliament. Now the ruling Labour Party and the opposition United Workers' Party are both confident of victory as OAS and CARICOM teams monitor the poll. Turnout has been declining since 1979. And on the international scene, the U.S. Supreme Court is taking up a $1 billion online piracy case. Justices will hear whether internet providers should be liable when users download pirated music. A jury had ordered Cox Communications to pay $1 billion to record labels, but the company argues the ruling would turn providers into, quote, internet police. Big tech firms support Cox, and the court's decision could shape how copyright law applies to file sharing and future technologies like AI. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Aaliyah Bryant.
Thank you, Alia. We take another break. Sports is next.